In our Here's How series, we describe simple processes in TreProApps that improve your ability to move around the apps more easily. Here's How number 4 is an extension of the ideas from number 3 that dealt with the basic search choices. We have 11 ideas in the 2 search videos. This second video has ideas 6 to 11, while the first video covered 1 to 5. If you are new to searching with an app, we do suggest you do these 2 videos in order, i.e. the sequence of ideas in this video follows on from search Here's How number 3. At some point in the search, you will choose to see what species are still on your tree list. Look at the oval dark button in the top right-hand corner of the tree search screen, where a number indicates how many trees you have left. You can watch this number reduce until it gives you a short enough list of species to investigate closely. You can do this at any stage of a search, irrespective of how many species there are. But it is usually more meaningful, while you're still getting to know the app's capabilities, to check this only once you have reduced the choice to less than 10. When you're totally familiar with the system, and probably really only if you can recognize a relatively large number of species in your area, this search can comfortably be done with as many as 40 trees still on the list. Here it is 5 trees. The remaining trees on that potential list will have all the comprehensive data to help your search. We will discuss how you access that later in this video. Idea 7. Select any image, usually start with the top one, to convert this to a single image of the selected species, and this will fill the screen. Look carefully at this image to see if it is possibly a correct ID. It is usually enough as a starting point to simply use Joan van Gogh's full color artwork. This is always the first image for each tree. You can always go back a few minutes later to look at more photos of that species to clarify your search. However, start with a quick look at each of the trees that are still listed, only using Joan's artwork. You will often, even usually, know if this tree is not the one you are searching to identify. If this is true of any tree, select the bar at the top of the artwork where it says Remove from Results, and this will immediately reduce your list of choices. 2 things will happen. The species will disappear from your list, and the species number in the top right-hand corner will reduce. Idea 8. Browse through the image list, looking carefully at the image for each species. Do this by scrolling on the little grey arrows on the right of the image screen, and then on the left of the image screen. Remove any you are sure are incorrect. It's the usual rule. If unsure, leave the image for later. Remember, never guess too early on. Idea 9. At the end of scrolling through the list, if you still have 5 or more images, you may choose to go back to an additional search through the characteristics in the search tree itself. This hopping around is part of learning to become totally familiar with your app. As I said above, this ultimately is where the fun and the skills are. However, please note that if you do this, in other words, going back to the main search, you will undo any work that you did in Remove from Results, and you will be back to your previous larger number of species. Therefore, usually, once you have finished your Remove from Results actions, you could prefer to look more carefully at the photos that are below each set of artworks and to read their captions. You can then compare your real species with the app images in greater detail. Idea 10. If you are still unsure of the species and have a few more to sort out, you could go to the information bar at the base of each screen. Again, you will use the grey arrows on both sides of the images to negotiate from one species to the next. Please note that again, we have taken these images from the TreeApp essay. The information texts for TreeProBotanical look very similar, but they do carry different text, as the data there is described in scientific botanical terms. By the way, there is no Remove from Results button when you are in the information section of any tree. You will have to return to images to do this. Idea 11. As a final method of refining your search in either of the TreProApps, whether it is in the TreeApp South Africa or TreePro Botanical, we have the same, further, sophisticated idea to help you. Looking at any screen on either app, but only after you've put in a series of search entries, you will see a white button in the bottom right-hand corner. This says Review and carries a small red number. That number reflects the number of times you have added an entry into the search. Here it is 6. Select that white Review button, and the screen that comes up will list all your selections, with an X for each one, in the order that you made them. You should now read through that list carefully to make sure you did not touch an incorrect choice earlier by mistake. Remember our rapid finger syndrome problem that is so common? Or there might be a choice that you made before that you now feel is perhaps not 100% correct. Rather remove it. You can always replace it again later. Touch on any X that worries you, and that earlier choice will be removed totally. Your number of species on the remaining list will grow longer again. Of course, you do not have to select any X. If you are comfortable with them, you can leave the selections as they were. Either way, once you are happy with all your choices, then go down to the same bottom right-hand corner of the screen where our white button now says 4 selections, because we eliminated 2 out of the original 6. By the way, at any stage, when you have completed your search and you're content with it, you can reset using the reset button that is in the bottom left-hand corner, as well as in the middle of the search tree. Then you can start on your next search or repeat the first one. Overview of the above information. Experience with users has shown us that learning all these incredible, sophisticated techniques that make up these unique apps cannot be achieved overnight, even by experienced and/or skilled tree or plant people. It takes time to become not only familiar, but adept at each step. And each tree species in each area, of course, is different. It may take only 5 entries to get to Aloe speciosa as one of 2 choices. But in a more commonly formed, simple-leafed tree with no thorns or leaf serrations, etc., it could take as many as 16 entries in thorns and leaves alone to have 22 species remaining that need further investigation. You could then proceed with flowers or fruit in the search to have made 20 search selections recorded in the review to reach 4 species. Then you can make a final choice with photos or information or remove from results. Finally, we are left with 3 species to look at more closely. This is an extraordinary result in a relatively short time when you started with 1,114 trees and are not using the location filter. Understanding the ideas above and becoming proficient at them should reduce the number of errors you make and increase your pleasure. Or you could join the TreeProApp's community and keep abreast of all new developments by contacting us through the website shown here or by sending us an email to community@TreProApp.com. Enjoy using our magnificent TreeProApps and go out to discover and love 1,000 trees in our beautiful, diverse South Africa.